Hello everyone, welcome back to more From the Depths. We're going to be doing a bit more building today as I've been spending a couple of hours off camera. And I've been working on some of these little side turrets inspired by some of the Onyx Watch ships. And basically these are meant to be like the secondary guns that the old World War I Dreadnoughts used to have in the side. They used to have like in turrets that could like rotate around, but I don't really think I could fit them inside the side of the hull. Also added a bit of a torpedo belt on the side, which basically is a perfect place to put these turrets. Now, what do they consist of? They're pretty simple. I've got 180 mil on these guns, and they have the advanced firing piece over here, got some gauge increases to get through the armor. Then we have a splitter, and they go down into two rails of cooling units with two 2-meter autoloaders. Now we could bump it up to 4-meter autoloaders, but nah, there's no real need to. And they will be working just fine. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why did he put the 3-meter elevation mantlet on the side? Well, we'll go over here and I'll show you. They actually have quite, I mean, they can't really reach up high, but they're basically aimed at taking out other shipping. And as you can see, we are at like 3 kilometers now. They have perfect range. They don't have a lot of elevation, but they can cover like basic sea vessels, etc. They're going to be able to take out submarines. They're not going to be able to take out airplanes, but we should have other things to take out airplanes with. So I thought today I'd be walking you through how I'd build one of those guns. I mean, they are pretty simple, but it's a good excuse to get some building done on the Dreadnought, and it's still far from done. Most of the stuff above water, etc. is still placeholder. I'm actually pretty happy with how the torpedo belt is looking. But aside from that, it is still far from finished, and I really should be spending some more time on it. Which is basically what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be getting to this firing piece over here that I've prepared. We're turning on mirror mode along the side of the ship so that we're building on both sides at the same time. Although we just noticed we haven't actually prepared anything yet on the other side. So let's quickly check if that is the case now. Yep, there we go. Alright, we're good to go. So first of all, we are going to get the elevation mantlet. Don't really care too much about the Omni mantlet. I like the look of the elevation mantlet on its side more. And we're gonna get rid of these beams over here. Don't really care too much about them. And I'm gonna start placing advanced cannons. We're gonna get some gauge increases. Now I do recognize that this is going to be a lot longer. It's going to be 236 millimeters, which is fine. They're in the center of the ship. I'm fine with them being a bit stronger. And we'll make these a bit wider just in case. Now we'll put a splitter on the ends here to lure them down. And we'll get some more cooling units, to which we will basically be attaching our autoloaders. Now, because we're going for a larger caliber here, I will be going for the 4-meter autoloaders instead of the 2-meter ones. Because I feel like they could use the added firepower. Now, the reason I'm trying to keep this small is because I want to have these all along the line of the ship. Perhaps like, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 on a stretch of those larger guns. And then we have 4 of those smaller ones on the side. We've got them in the back, we've got them in the front. This is starting to get rather heavily armed for a ship, which is good. I like my battleships heavily armed, and this is definitely going to be a battleship, even if it's going to be a bit smaller as a battleship. Let's take a quick look at barrel length. Those puppies are 12 long, so I'm probably going for 14, you know what, we'll go for 15, and then bore evacuator and muzzle brake for a total length of 17 on the barrel, which isn't all that bad. Let's quickly get ourselves a couple of ammo clips. I'm actually thinking about just making a switch to closed ones, because they do help the processor, and Lord knows the processor has had enough of a hard time in games like this. Right, so there we go. That is going to be almost the maximum amount of clips you can attach to it. Again, we could have had them lying horizontally instead of vertical, but I would rather save the horizontal space for things that are supposed to be in the ship. We're gonna get some ammo input feeders on there. We're gonna feed them to a temporary shell that is 4 modules and 4 casings. All of it is Sabo except for the final thing on the shell, that is a flare. Because they fire quite rapidly once you spend enough time making sure that the reload is slow. All that. That's a nice accuracy, 0.309. Well, it's a big gun, which is good. We're gonna need some big guns on this. Just waiting, giving it some time to load. Get some shells in there, you know. That'll further decrease the reload time. And we need to get a good grip of how this works with a full clip. Because we're gonna be waiting for a full clip. We're not gonna be jumping in like, oh, we have 3 shells loaded out of a possible 120. Just picking a random word here. We could have like 30 shells probably, but we're not gonna fire when we're nearly empty. That'd be silly. Now we're gonna be testing these in battle ready condition when we've had time to prepare for battle. So it's gonna take us a little bit to load up. We could make for a longer shell, but on the other hand, I'm gonna be looking at shells when we're, I don't know, when we've got a bit more guns, when we're a bit more selected. I will add some armor-piercing high explosive shells in there, of course. They'll probably be longer shells, and they might, I don't know, they might be more effective, they might not be, depends. But I will keep a healthy selection of pure armor-piercing in there as well, just so we can blast through some metal if need be. I'm not quite sure how strong the lightning hoods are going to be, and I want this to be prepared for that. So the shields will be able to be transferred to laser absorption. I'm not entirely sure how effective that would end up being. I feel like shields are a bit better against shells in general, because shells, I don't know, they don't travel in a straight line. There's more chance of you being able to intercept a bullet. Either way, I think they're about done. Yep, there we go. I'm gonna bring out the big gun. Just need to assign it to group 2. There we go. Because I like my secondaries to be on group number 2. Speed is decent. That's looking good. Range is plenty. Now the bigger the caliber, the further the range. And once they get out of effective range, drag will actually take over. Let me quickly demonstrate that. That's another it's a new change that I've seen recently. So this has like 3,000 meters somewhere. Or not. Bit of a lousy demonstration. I think it's because I up-tiered them to 180 mils instead of 120 mils. I'm pretty sure that the 120 mils didn't have any, did have some range issues. Okay, so that might not work. Let's get to the gun on the top here that I was experimenting with prior and will probably scrap at some point. Just quickly test fire that. There we go. Oh, of course, now it's in space, so it's not gonna get to its point. I am doing a really terrible job of trying to present my point here. Right, that should do it. Now, once this guy reaches like 3,500 meters, 4,000 meters perhaps. Yep, shell's now beyond effective range and drag is taken over. So if you build a really small caliber, or a small gauge, and you just go like, yep, this is gonna go fly super fast and penetrate everything, there's no maximum effective limit on how far your shells can go before they're like, yep, nope, we're done. You win. But I mean, my performance on this is not bad, I suppose. It does have decent accuracy. Now why I like these elevation ones is that they have pretty good traversion, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty nice. Let's get over to the, see, there we go. That's pretty good. I mean, it might not have elevation, but again, it's meant against shipping. See, that's a pretty decent broadside. Just wait until all those guns are AI controlled. It'll be a blast. Because it's guns, duh. Oh, I didn't really. I'm sorry. I didn't even realize, and then I just had to celebrate it. Right, you said your barrel was cooling down, eh? Pretty sure we might be able to fix that. But how, you wonder? Well, simple. We're gonna get some more symmetry in here. Line it up, there we go. And then we're gonna start... We could take out a gauge splitter. I mean, sure, why not? Not like we're doing anything wrong here. You are connected, there we go. And that should decrease the cooling that we need. I mean, it's a good problem to have that cooling is our problem here. We could also tell the gun to start overclocking, but... I mean... We have the space inside the gun, so I'd rather... Or rather inside the hull. So, as tempting as it is, I would rather not tell the gun like, hey, you can start overheating now, it's fine. I'd rather preserve accuracy. Especially since these guns aren't the most accurate guns to begin with. Barrel is still cooling down, but it should be firing a little bit faster. Cooldown is reduced by a second. So we're definitely getting this to the point where it's slowly starting to become rapid fire. Again, that's a good problem to have. I'd much rather run out of ammunition than waste accuracy or anything like that. So we're gonna just try this just to see how many cooling units we would need. Still barrel cooling down. I think it goes down pretty... Right, we're gonna test something radical here. We're gonna go out on a limb and say like 6 extra cooling units should be enough. Can't aim it at that. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Okay, so it was pretty good at burst firing. That's pretty neat. Now the reason it does the burst fire is because we only have 2 autoloaders on here. And then it goes like, oh yeah, we now need to reload. So basically we're firing a quick double burst, which, you know, I think it's pretty cool. Let's go back to this, however, see if we have a more consistent rapid fire. Yeah, you know what, I'm gonna leave it at this. Just because this is more consistent and we're not reliant on any burst output. Okay, that feels a lot better. So now we have a decent-ish gun. It does fire okay. We're gonna basically line the hull with this. Or at least I'm going to, off camera. Now let's take a quick look at shells, because, well, no gunnery episode is complete without talking about shells. Let's quickly get a duplicate view, and we're gonna place you on the roof, because let's keep shells apart for safety. Also, if there happens to be an explosion on one part, the other part is still fine. Now, this is gonna be more armor-piercing high explosive than armor-piercing or anything, but we're still gonna add... I don't know, gauge... Tell me, gauge 236. What would your armor-piercing be if we just went with a fuse? Penetration depth. We'll set it to 2 meters or 0.005 seconds, so it doesn't penetrate too deeply. And then we'll go to HE and a base bleeder, why not? What would your expected armor pierce be? 6.9, so we'd be able to pierce some layers of wood, maybe some aluminium, but nothing the likes of metal. If we were to go with a solid warhead body, we'd get up to 9.5. That's a lot better. How about if we instead switch over to a visible tracer then? It would lower it down to 7.8, so we're reliant on speed here as well. What instead I want to try and do is we're going to add a visible tracer on here, we're going to add another HE warhead body here, and then we're going to add a penetration depth fuse over here. Set to 2 meters or 0.05 seconds. Expected armor pierce is only 5.8 now. Regardless, we're gonna give it a try on this one gun here. Force all intakes to assign to there, that's fine. And we're gonna quickly go and tell you to have not multiple barrels. Which will basically mean they're gonna dump all the ammo out, and then we're gonna have to get all the ammo back once more. Might seem a bit tedious, and it is, but it's gonna allow us to do some more testing. Now, one thing I do have to get off my chest is, I don't know. Words. Yeah, I occasionally stress out, like, ooh, people demand progress, you know, that's what I'm telling myself. But it's nice to hang back with an occasional building episode and slowly making some progress. Might not be fast, but I will promise you that we are getting there. Now let's do a quick test fire. No need to see how this rapid fires yet. Just want to see shell velocity and range. So that's definitely a lot shorter ranged. I'm not quite happy with that yet. Actually, I'd rather get back a gunpowder casing and put a base bleeder on there. Expected armor pierce is now up to 9.4, which is a lot better. Let's quickly ditch the barrels and then tell it like, hey, you can be a single barrel again, it's fine. Admittedly, I do like the look of a double-barreled one. I want to actually try that on these ones as well. Just because it looks sick. At least it looks pretty cool in my opinion. And we should have both autoloaders on here be able to fire at once. Right, we're going to this one. We want to test fire it just to see what would happen. The range wouldn't be bad. It's able to reach at least 3,000 meters. That's pretty good. Let's quickly check these ones now then. Still reloading. Alright. I don't know why, but sure. I think they might... No, they should be able to fit the... We downsized the guns, we didn't upsize them. Did we force you to... No, you are connected to something, so why aren't you filling up? Either way, let's take another test fire at this. Okay, speed is a lot better, I'll give it that. 3,000 meters, okay. Armor pierce of 9, explosive damage of almost next to nothing. Yeah, I think we'll keep that one around. How are these two doing? You finally loaded? Nope. Why? Nobody knows. You should be loading up. You really not gonna do anything? Because that would be a shame. Make some noise. Do something. Come on. You know, let's test fire this one more time, just to be sure. Kinetic damage isn't bad. I think that's because of the solid warhead as well, so it's gonna do a decent bit of damage, I suppose. Range is okay at like 4,500. So I think we'll keep that one in there. And then we have the other shell available for flares, etc. Yeah, you guys gonna ever load up anything? 5 seconds since last shell received. Somehow I don't believe you. Somehow I don't believe you. Force all to intake. There we go. Please respond. I mean, I'm not gonna wait around forever. Yeah, you know what? I'm sort of running out of time here because I spent a couple of hours on this off camera and just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with it. Everything that you've seen is still a placeholder and subject to change, etc. But it's nice to make a little bit of progress at some point. It almost looks like a rowing boat. I just noticed. Anyway guys, I've got to end the episode here. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And a little bit of a different look at weaponry. It's only a little bit different. But yeah, leave a like down below if you liked the video. Leave a comment if you have anything to say. And if you want to see more from the depths. And if you're not already subscribed, why not subscribe? It's free. Anyway, until next time, have a good one folks.